Hey, what's up? This is Marcel, back with another video for Ultra, where we explore how we can support the gospel with strong organization. So today's topic is prayer versus planning. And I must apologize because I'm not actually gonna pit the two against each other. It's just total clickbait, so you can watch the video. However, I do wanna challenge the bias that prayer is all we have to do. That if we're trying to, get out of debt and, grow financially, all I have to do is pray. That if I'm trying to grow my organization, grow my church, grow my ministry, and really make an impact in the community and people's lives using the gospel, that all I have to do is pray. That if I'm trying to, work with my spouse to get them saved, work with my kids to get them saved, that all I have to do is pray about it. I want to challenge that idea. I want to challenge that basis that sometimes we may not verbalize, but sometimes that's kind of the default. And then planning becomes just an afterthought. I want to challenge that in saying that planning supports prayer. So whatever it is that you're praying for, you should also be planning for. Because I feel like planning is an extension of faith. You're really expecting God to do what you're praying for. So in the Bible, when it says in Mark chapter 11, verse 24, that whatever you ask for in prayer, that you should believe that you have received it. So if you already believe that you receive it, then you should be planning on what you're gonna do with it when you receive it. So what are your plans to facilitate a growing church? What are your plans to facilitate finances that are just going overflowing like crazy? So what are your plans to make sure that God is in the center of your family after God touches your spouse and touches your kids? And whatever it is that you're praying for, my question is, are you also planning for it? And again, I believe that if you're praying for it, you should be planning for it, because planning supports your prayer. Planning will support and facilitate the miracle that is born out of prayer. Case in point, when you look at the miracle that Jesus did with feeding the 5,000 in Mark chapter 6, 35 through 44, it actually shows you that Jesus actually planned before he prayed for the miracle. He didn't do this every single time, but man, I feel like there's a principle. Again, we're here to explore how we can support the gospel with strong organization. And we see some organizational practices here in planning. So let me read it to you in Mark chapter 6, 35 through 44. Late in the afternoon, the disciples came to him and said, "This is a remote place and it's already getting late. Send the crowds away so they can go to the nearby farms and villages and buy something to eat." But Jesus said, "You feed them." With what, they asked. "We'd have to work for months to earn enough money to buy food for all these people." "How much bread do you have?" he asked. "Go and find out." They came back and reported, "We have 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Then Jesus told the disciples to have the people sit down in groups on the green grass. So they sat down in groups of 50 or 100. Jesus took the 5 loaves and 2 fish, looked up towards heaven and blessed them. Then breaking the loaves into pieces, he kept giving the bread to the disciples so that they could distribute it to the people. He also divided the fish for everyone to share. Verse 42, they all ate as much as they wanted, and afterward the disciples picked up 12 baskets of leftover bread and fish. A total of 5,000 men and their families were fed. Okay, so you see what happened, right? Jesus planned and he organized before he even blessed the bread, before he even did any kind of spiritual activity of prayer and just put bread in the bread that actually brought the miracle. And so my thought is I wonder if there's miracles of multiplication, miracles of resources just being poured out, miracles of God using us as the disciples to touch people, but we're hindering it because we're not planning and organizing for it. So I just want to take a look at a few things on the organization side that help to support the miracle that was born out of prayer. So check this out. I think number one, he gathered the goods. So he took a look at what they did have, right? He looked at what they did have, what resources were available to them before he even acted and started praying for a miracle. And to me, I think this is important because it's really being a good steward of what God has given to us and not leading from this envious, almost procrastination type of place. So I feel what a lot of us do, and I'm totally guilty of it as well, is that we'll look at what we don't have and that'll stall us, that'll cause us to procrastinate, cause us to have excuses not to actually get started and position ourselves for God to bless the work in our hands. If you look at the parable of the talents, you see that one guy had 1 talent, another guy had 2, and another guy had 5. None of these guys had the same starting point, yet 2 of these guys were ultra faithful with what they did have. Imagine being the guy who had 2 and just like complaining because he didn't have 5. Nah, the guy put in work. He didn't care what he didn't have. He worked what he did have and was faithful what he did have. And he actually had the same, if you look at the amount of multiplication that he had and the guy that 5 had, it was the same percentage, 100% increase. And that, man, to me is the first step towards seeing God do a miracle. It's just being faithful what you do have and starting with what you do have and gathering those goods and looking around and being thankful, being grateful. I say don't fall into the trap of the envious leader, the procrastination leader. Man, incremental growth is better than no growth at all. Come on. Number 2, he streamlined the services. We see that the Bible teaches that he divided the people up into 50 and into 100. You know, it's like, why would you do that? And I can imagine that he didn't want to get trampled, right? Started giving out free food. What do people do? Go crazy already. Like you see in scripture, the Bible teaches, man, these guys are just like after him, grabbing him, like touching him, just like thronging him. Like that word throng. They just like getting on top of him. He's like, we're not doing it that time. We're not doing it like this. We're going to get organized. We're gonna do 50, we're gonna do 100, and it's gonna be a chill party, all right? We're not gonna do any of this mess, you know? Like last time you guys almost threw me out a clip. So he got organized, he streamlined these services. I think at the heart of streamlining services is really just like care for people. If you look at like Lean Six Sigma and the House of Lean, you'll actually see one of the pillars for like continuous improvement and growth and really like just making things better overall is respect for people. That's one of the pillars for House of Lean, is that you treat people with respect. And because you care about such person, because you care about your customer, man, you want to give them the best service delivery model. You want to make things as easy as possible for them. And I just wonder who our customers are. Who are the people that God has put in front of us to bless? Is it the people coming in our church, our family, like who are our customers and our clients, like whoever it is? If you care about that person, you have respect for that person, you're gonna want to dive into their experience. You're gonna want to make sure that it's as streamlined as possible because you care about the person. You care about their experience. You care about what happens when they walk into your shop, they walk into your church, they walk into your home, what their impression is gonna be like. And to me, man, like that's what he's doing, streamlining these services. And obviously it's because it's proven that, man, he had empathy for these people. He could have, just like his disciples said, yo, it's closing time, you guys need to dip. He could have just said, here's the food and it is what it is. And if you don't like the way I'm serving it, right, like a lot, and if you don't like the way I'm serving it, man, you need to go get fed somewhere else. I don't know if anybody's ever said that verbally, but man, like I wonder if he's like, man, how can I streamline my service delivery model to make a better experience to serve these people? Because he cares about them. And the third thing that we see is that Jesus delegated these duties. He didn't actually go and feed every single person, did he? He didn't out there and make sure that he was up front and center, making sure that everybody knew that, hey, I prayed for the bread. I'm the one who's doing all this stuff. Like, of course, like he's getting credit for it, right? But he worked through his disciples, he worked through his proxies to actually accomplish this vision, accomplish this mission. And I think at the end of the day, yes, I know that in a lot of our works and a lot of our entrepreneurial businesses and our startup church plants, like really there's not a lot of help for a lot of us, right? And even if we do have a big group, they always say, man, it's lonely at the top. And I understand that that good help is sometimes hard to come by, and I get that, and I think that's another thing of like learning to build people for leadership roles. But I would say that there's some people that are kind of like getting in the way of themselves, getting in the way of that miracle and that multiplication that God wants to do, because they want to be the one serving, they want to be the one hands-on, making sure that everybody knows, hey, I'm the person, I'm the guy that's doing this. So I just want to make sure you know that I am the one who's doing this, right? And I get all the credit, I get all the limelight. This is where organization, like, man, really comes in, and where people can execute projects, execute mission, execute stuff when we learn the power of delegation, when we learn that, man, these people are not against us. They're not here to take anything away from us. But when they begin to succeed, it's actually like a badge of honor for us because we're the ones who trained them. We're the ones who built them up. That's just why I look at it. And I think that's one thing for us to get out of the way and allow others to actually get in there, get their hands dirty and serve people and allow them to get in that seat. So those are a few things that I see in how we can use planning and organization to support the miracles that are born out of prayer. So again, it's not planning versus prayer, or not clashing those two. It's actually we're planning for what we're praying for. And so I hope you're blessed by the video. Again, we're here to explore in different ways we could support the gospel with strong organization. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Let me know what you thought about the video in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe, and share the heck out of this. I really appreciate you guys. All right, God bless.